On the physical level, is that when our brain hemispheres come into harmony?
That's one version, yes. But I'll say this. Egregors extremely resist our harmonization. And harmonizing the left and right hemispheres is one of the ways to break through. Newborns always have balanced left and right brain activity. Then, as we grow and interact with the world, we absorb information given to us without love in a flat, one-dimensional way. And as that happens, our inner centers start to split. Vision, voice, the part of us that sings, the part that reasons, the part that imagines. But the truth is, we actually have the ability to do it all at once. And women, by the way, are naturally more advanced in this. They can activate multiple parts of the brain simultaneously. Men, on the other hand, typically work with only one at a time. If a man's watching TV, he can't hear you. If he's listening to someone, he can't watch TV. This imbalance is significant. Now, when the left and right hemispheres begin to harmonize, all the inner centers that used to operate independently start to panic. Each one tries to pull energy toward itself, draining our vitality. So when this restructuring begins, we might experience altered states. Some would call it enlightenment. Others would say it's the joy of life or a sense of deep peace. But really, it's just a transition. It's harmonization. I remember reading that in Britain around 2020, I think, they were granted permission to study LSD again. It had been banned since the 1960s. Back then, the equipment for observing brain activity was primitive, but now they've done large-scale research and the results were fascinating. One key finding, LSD activates the entire brain at once.
All centers?
Yes, and when they looked at the brain activity of an infant and someone on LSD, it matched exactly.
So, do we need to deliberately harmonize the hemispheres in some special way? I don't mean with LSD.
We can harmonize them even through something as simple as calmness. This calmness alone can do it. It can be chemical or it can be physical. You can reach that same state of ecstasy just by writing poetry, making love, working on something technical, or simply stepping into nature and merging with it. The difference is there are mechanisms that can accelerate that state 1,000-fold. But the reason our centers are so disconnected in the first place is that we're constantly receiving information without love. If our kindergarten teachers had done everything with love, if our mothers and fathers had spoken to us with love, if our school teachers had explained physics, math, or geometry with love, guys, we wouldn't need LSD. We'd feel like we were on LSD all the time. Our entire brain would be working in sync, bringing us into full harmony with ourselves, the world, our creative expression, and the realization of our boldest dreams. Dreams that would yield positive outcomes and truly accelerate our transformation. That's why I say, if you want to become more conscious, start by connecting with the world around you. How do you connect? It's simple. When you see something beautiful, something that brings you joy, imagine it's already yours. Feel what it's like to have it. And then imagine everyone around you, strangers on the street, your friends, your family, all of them feeling that same joy. And you feel joy from their joy. What you're doing is creating an energy informational field that generates a natural state of happiness.
So would you say those moments of creative intensity, are they the harmonization of the left and right hemispheres? I know people, and I've had moments myself, where there's such a powerful shared frequency among a group, and you literally feel like you're being launched into another dimension. No alcohol, no substances, just this euphoric state from being in total sync with your people. Among actors, this happens all the time. Creative people start building off each other's energy, adding their own flair, and suddenly they're all swept up in this unreal flow. So how does someone know they've reached that harmony? Or is it not even about knowing? Maybe it's just about enjoying life, and we circle back to those simple truths again?
Well, first of all, when it comes to creators or people in meditation, only certain areas of the brain are activated, but because one person activates one center, another activates a different one, and so on, together they create an electromagnetic field that amplifies the effect, but only in that specific direction. Sure, it might spill into nearby areas. That's why I say we need to generate something that radiates from all directions. I was reading a fantasy novel where ether, energy from another dimension, first entered Earth. Suddenly, people started developing superpowers. But because they weren't balanced individuals, they hadn't been raised with love from their parents, their teachers, or society. They used those powers destructively. They tore everything apart. The message in that story was this: the ether will reach you whether you're ready or not. For some, it will be overwhelming, even destructive. But for others, it will bring harmony and strength.
What can people do right now if they genuinely want to support these creative, life-affirming trends, maybe even contribute to future technologies? Should they get involved in specific areas of tech progress? Is there something meaningful to pursue in that direction? Can they open kindergartens with their own philosophy?
But it won't lead to anything truly meaningful because people will be doing it from a state of inner imbalance.
So what can we do?
The first step is to stop consuming massive amounts of informational junk. We need to stop filling the newsphere with toxins. It's like using plastic bottles and then throwing them out into the street. But more than that, we're the ones generating those bottles and dumping them back into our shared space. When we stop engaging with that kind of information, we stop feeding it, we stop replicating it, we stop creating more of those plastic bottles.
Okay.
And once we stop diving into that information stream, we can ask ourselves, will this make me richer, healthier, younger, more successful? Will it increase love in me or in the world? If not, I'm not going to listen to it. It's that simple. Ask whether something will help multiply what's good. If it won't, don't engage with it. The second step is to remember more often who we are, physical beings, to truly recognize us as men and women, to notice nature more often, to notice beauty, to notice what we truly enjoy. I think that alone might be the strongest catalyst for transformation. This is the foundation. It doesn't require education or meditation skills. And if we think of something, we do it. And if we stop exaggerating, stop downplaying, if we cut out empty talk, if we start thinking beautifully, creatively, constructively, then add some exercises. Say something kind to someone. Notice how we feel in this moment. Wish for Earth to thrive, Nicole, to flourish in harmony. Honestly, if enough people start doing just this, all at once, that alone could shift everything.
It's kind of like a daily rhythm or routine.
I wouldn't call it a routine. I'd call it a celebration.
Well, I don't mean routine as in boring.
Some people be like, what kind of curtains should I hang on these beautiful windows of mine? And I go, let's first find the land and dig the foundation for the house those windows will go in. That's what we're talking about. First, we choose where to build the house. So start with that. Clear out the informational junk. Stop judging. Stop projecting. Ask yourself, am I doing this out of guilt, out of obligation, out of pity, out of fear of what others might think? Or am I doing this because I genuinely enjoy it? Because it brings me energy, growth, pleasure, and I'm doing it just a little less than I want?
Still, at some point, people will want to move into action with their work, their business, their life's purpose. We don't want to feel stuck. What would you recommend as the next step? Besides the daily practice, I'm not calling it a routine, more like what we do with ourselves on a regular basis. But what about when we start interacting with others? In business, in relationships?
We need to wake ourselves up. Learn to feel joy in the doing in the moment. Like Seraphim of Sarov said, acquire the spirit of peace, and thousands around you will be saved. Make your coffee with joy. Look out the window with joy. Take a shower with joy. Stretch with joy. Give your child a kiss with joy. Wish happiness to the world with joy. Drive yourself to work with joy. Start creating joy. Start increasing joy in the new sphere, and do it in the process. Let joy become your baseline. Take out the trash with joy. Wash dishes with joy. Cook with joy. And if you do something, let it be done with pleasure. And if it's not working, just admit it. I'd like to feel joy here, but I don't right now. Even that opens you up.
So just to clarify, you're talking about healthy pleasure, right? Not the exaggerated kind where someone's like, I only want this one thing, and that's all I'll accept.
Simple actions, everyday actions. Whatever we're doing in the moment, we do it while being fully present here and now.
Got it. We've got a couple of questions from the comments. First, what can people start doing today to stay youthful and energetic in the future? What's it going to look like? Will aging still exist? And another one from a different listener. If people live much longer, how will Earth handle overpopulation? Will that even be an issue?
Where should we start with our bodies? Again, I'm only sharing what I see, what I feel. That's it. This is futurism, yes, but it's based on life experience, on working with people, information, and feedback, all of which lead me to what I'm about to say. In my opinion, for humans, the physical body, youth, lasts about the first 100 years. Those 100 years are for development, for learning, for adapting to the world, and finding ways to realize yourself in it. And if we apply the methods I've mentioned, the minimum lifespan could be 700 years. Minimum.
But that's once we have the tech for retransformation of states, right?
I'd say that kind of tech will become unnecessary within a year, 2 at most, but even in a year, it'll be gone. People will become the transmitters. Every person will start broadcasting it themselves. We'll get new tech that draws energy from people. And think about it, entire civilizations already feed off our energy. Robert Monroe wrote about this in detail, how energy is drawn from here and used to build galaxies, universes, entire new races. We'll only keep about 1% for ourselves, and then the issue of electrifying the planet solved. The only reason it hasn't been done yet is because it could throw things way off balance. It could be used in harmful ways, but the principle is simple. Right now, 99.9% of children born, they're unfulfilled, troubled, misaligned.
So how do we change that on a global level?
I believe children should be conceived at the peak of development, at the peak of pleasure, joy, effectiveness, and self-fulfillment. Then overpopulation won't even be a topic. In fact, we'll constantly be short on people like that, because those will be gods. Literally gods, and teleportation, traveling to other planets, creating new places to live, that'll become normal, just like going to work. So yeah, it's totally possible in the near future, but right now, the technocratic system is feeding narratives through people with a very narrow view of life, saying AI will take over, we'll all get chipped, everything will go digital, and that'll be the end of us. And yes, that's what the tech egregor is projecting because that's what it needs. But honestly, that's what every egregor wants. Because once egregors start using us, they consume us. They don't care. They just want the energy. They're not thinking about whether the soil will be depleted tomorrow and nothing will grow. They live in the presence. And because there's no love in them, what do we need to do? Add love into the system.
You've talked before about energy being taken from humans, and that this process will eventually become a major clean technology of the future, like the main source of power.
Let's be clear, it already exists. Everyone's felt it. You meet someone, have a conversation, and for 2 weeks afterward, you're on a high, energized, inspired, alive. Then there are people you meet, and afterward you feel like death, like it's time to head to the cemetery. That's energy exchange. We're dealing in massive energy transfers without even realizing it. If advanced civilizations were watching us, they'd see us passing around diamonds by the ton, giving away insane value without blinking. We don't appreciate a single gem. We just hand over a mountain of them. That's how we interact. And yes, they harvest massive amounts of energy from us when we connect that way. But to extract it, they need an anchor, emotion. Doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. Any emotion will do, because emotions are tied to the past. And when we're stuck in the past, that's when we give away the big chunks. But if we live in the present, then all that energy stays with us. For Earth and for ourselves.
So the Earth's electromagnetic field, and what happens in the micro mirrors the macro, Our bodies follow the same laws as Earth's electromagnetic field.
Our bodies were forced to follow those laws, but that's not how they were meant to function. And honestly, we can't even say what it would be like otherwise, because no one's ever been allowed to live that way. The truth is, our body doesn't actually need food. Our organs were designed for completely different tasks, but we were reprogrammed. It's like turning a beautiful apartment into a furnace. All the furniture burns, the walls get charred, and then the house just collapses because it was never built to process food or to offer itself as sacrifice to egregors feeding off us. And it's not even us who are angry. It's the emotional egregors we've plugged into. And maybe some people still won't hear me. But here's the thing. The moment you label yourself anything, an artist, a poet, a singer, a politician, you've plugged into an egregor. And that egregor always wants death. That's why it gets angry when it's not fed.